Even out there in YouTube land, Dan here from Geekcast Radio doing another Marvel comic review. This time I'm continuing my look at Black Panther with a review of Black Panther #2. And I'm getting to this a little bit late. Unfortunately, I picked this book up late, well, much later than it came out. But after reading it, it's like, you know what? I really need to continue to share my thoughts. I did review issue #1, and going into that, I talked about how I was a little hesitant about continuing with Black Panther, knowing Ta-Nehisi Coates was still writing it, because I wasn't a huge fan of what he was doing with the book, at least when it first started. And even with the Legacy relaunch, it wasn't working for me. But this issue #1, I was like, okay, it felt like Ta-Nehisi Coates was becoming a better comic book writer. And issue #2 is this. I am all in for this idea. It may sound weird, it may sound strange, but Black Panther in space is just working. It's just, why not, right? Why take that world of Star Wars, take the world of science fiction, just extend it up and make it into Wakanda in space with spaceships, Black Panther being Luke Skywalker slash Han Solo, and that's really, this issue is just one big giant space battle. These Starcraft fighting, and it very much is Star Wars esque. It's not necessarily hiding that, but seeing that along with the aesthetic of Black Panther, it just wonderfully works. In large part due to the art of Daniel Acuna. And what was interesting about Ta-Nehisi Coates' first run with Black Panther, I thought it was a little bit too verbose, a little bit too just kind of stuck in its own story, and just trying to do too much too soon, not letting things happen organically. Where this is the opposite. This has been rather just really quickly paced. This issue, like I mentioned, plotting wise, is really kind of just straightforward. It's one big action sequence, but it's an action sequence that at least is showing us pieces of this T'Challa who, to be clear, I think some people misunderstood. I don't think that this isn't necessarily happening right now. It was kind of hard to miss with the first issue, where it talked about that these were characters in the future who took the mantle of characters like M'Baku and T'Challa, as reference to those people. At least that's what it seems. I have a feeling there's more going on here than we know. We get this opening page of just Wakanda, people in Wakanda going out into space 2,000 years ago, and it says 2,000 years ago, but 2,000 years ago from when this story takes place. And I think some people are thinking it takes place, that means that it's taking place in the past, like in a galaxy far, far away. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. And the thing, though, that we keep seeing is this character that acts, looks, and behaves a lot like T'Challa, who may be his descendant. It makes me wonder, is he actually T'Challa? Is this some sort of dream state? It's not 100% clear. We do see who is kind of like the Darth Vader of this book, which was kind of cool. And I don't know if it has a relation to do with a symbiote, but the way it was drawn, I had that impression. But I have a feeling that, seeing this T'Challa having these kind of visions of this woman in white with white hair, which is that Storm, maybe? Is it someone who's completely different? Some questions certainly aren't fully answered, but what we see, though, is this T'Challa is kind of, they're fighting this evil force that apparently the nation of Wakanda has been split, where you have a Wakanda Imperial Empire, which they even say Imperials, and a rebel force as well, who's trying to fight for their own freedom, but they're kind of running into some difficulties doing that. And seeing T'Challa basically kick butt in a spaceship and do some, maneuvers that seem impossible, taking a lot of chances, but going solo in a way where we're seeing kind of him growing as a character. Him taking on things, going head first, thinking that he can conquer the world, but maybe finding out that he can't do it alone, even if he is the descendant of Black Panther. And then the second piece is just learning about this new villain, who I guess I'll kind of spoil it. I don't know if it's necessarily a spoiler, letting you know that there is a villain in it, but a villain that is wearing the garb of Black Panther. And so is that another descendant? Is it, do we have two people that are both from that bloodline? Is this maybe a descendant of a Killmonger? Is that a possibility? Still kind of learning some of those pieces, which is, allows for a lot of questions to be kind of answered later on. But ultimately, I just love this idea, and sometimes a concept can take you a long way. And once you execute that, if you can execute that concept well, like this is doing, if you're a person that has not been reading Black Panther or maybe gave up on it like I did, highly recommend giving it another chance. Check this out. I think you might actually be surprised, about this. Is it? It may not have the heft of his beginning run, where it felt like there was much, a much deeper story. Time and place so far, this is, much lighter than I would expect for a Ta-Nehisi coach's book, but maybe that makes sense now because he is writing multiple comics, which he didn't do before, or maybe he'll be getting into something as this goes on. I don't know if this is a long-term plan, if this is going to be this Galactic Empire for next 12 issues or just next 5 issues, but for now, for the first 2 issues, I've liked it. I thought it's been a lot of fun. I did hear that issue 3 has been pushed back, which is unfortunate, but I just hope they keep Daniel Acuna on art, because seeing him, I think a big piece is keeping him on the art, because if the aesthetic doesn't work, I don't think it would be nearly as fun, but somehow he's able to kind of, his design of spaceships, where they're certainly reminiscent of other spaceships, but it's still their own thing. It's been kind of cool. So ultimately, yeah, if you've been reading it, let me know in the comments below. Any thoughts, opinions, go ahead and do that. If you want to listen to more of me, check out my podcast, Comic Concierge, or go to Geekcast Radio. But for now, remember that comics are for everyone. The key is finding the right one. And until next time, thanks for watching.